So and I'm going to just hit record on here. Lovely. So hello everyone and welcome to the Talking Stick Show. So this morning I am joined by Theresa Matthew. Hello Theresa.
Hello, greetings everyone. It's lovely to be here to have this opportunity to share a little bit about my music and the work I'm doing. Thank you, Dal.
Lovely, and it's great to meet you. I've seen a lot of your videos and a lot of your singing as well, and it's really inspired me and made me smile when I've been seeing your work.
Oh, thank you. Well, that's nice to know that it brings that sense of inspiration to people. Of course, the music all comes from spirit, and I'd love to share about how that started, if that's okay.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
So about 20 odd years ago, I had a massive expansion of consciousness, and this brought a connection in with the Christ energy, and through that came the Elohim angels. So they were the first to arrive into my consciousness that had lifted considerably, to bring in the music from the angels. And it would come normally when I'm walking the dog. I used to walk a neighbor's dog, and it would come through being in nature, by a river, you know, in the park, and I'd have to rush home because I'd have to keep singing it because I I had to then record it as soon as I got home so that I had it. Otherwise, like a river, it would flow away. So that's how it began. And then I had musicians in spirit arrive, which was totally amazing. And it was all amazing. And I still am very humbled to be receiving the music. But one day when I was in the kitchen, I heard a strong Liverpudlian accent. And I thought, that sounds like John Lennon. And all of a sudden, he started to sing me this song. And he's actually given me 3 songs. My Message is Peace, which is out on video, and All Life is Sacred, which is 14 minutes long, which is a peace song. You know, it's an anti-war song. And that was amazing. And then it sort of traveled from there. So it started with the Elohim angels. Then it flowed into the musicians in spirit, and there's a whole group of musicians that bring the music. And I think over the years I had about 400 songs. So I used to record them on little cassettes now. Can you imagine? So
Yeah.
case load of little tiny cassettes. Because in those days I didn't have the technology and it was all very primitive. So that's how it started. And then about 18 years ago, so they started with the Christ energy, and then 18 years ago, another massive expansion of consciousness, which brought in to me my timeline of the native Indian. When I was native Indian, I've had 4 incarnations. And the last one was 200 years ago when I became the white buffalo woman of my tribe, which was the Chiricahua Apache tribe. And I went on to Vision Quest and wanted to help the tribe at the time when the white eyes were coming, and came down the mountain with the white buffalo by my side. And then I became celebrated as the white buffalo woman. So the native Indian music, which came about 18 years ago, I didn't have any understanding about myself as a native Indian through the timeline, you know, obviously reincarnated into a white skin. But it was actually Chief Sitting Bull of the Hung Papa Sioux, and he arrived here and said to me, "Greetings, I come as a spokesperson of the Council of 21 Chiefs to say to you they wish to give you their music, their songs, their sacred songs." And I was so shocked, and I said, "Why me?" And he said, "Why not?" And that was it.
Why not?
And so then began the new flow of the river, which is the one that I mainly work in when I go out and do the gatherings, which is the native Indian, the tribal sacred music of the chiefs. And I suppose now I've got about, 300 or 400 of that music. But the difference is now, of course, I have the technology and I can put it into my audio recorders on the phone and things like this, you know. But hence my room is full of drums and flutes, because I live and breathe this energy. You know, I love it. It feeds my soul, and
Outstanding.
that's how it began. So that's a brief introduction to it.
So going into it a little bit, so for those who aren't aware, it might be good to talk about what Christ consciousness is, because I haven't talked about that really on the show. So it might be a good idea for those listening to your story of what Christ consciousness is.
Christ consciousness, to me, and obviously we all have our own reality. We're all looking at the world through our own lens. But in my 40-year journey on the spiritual pathway, Christ consciousness to me is pure love consciousness. It's when you have lifted your own consciousness to connect with your highest aspect, which is the pure love aspect of your connection to the Creator, to Great Spirit, Wakantonka, God, whatever word you wish to use. And in that way, the Christ consciousness is the pure love energy flowing from source. That's my understanding, but you know, you may have a different interpretation, Dal, but that's my interpretation of it. And it's to live, therefore, in the realization that we're all one. And at the same time, because you have become imbued by that level of pure love energy in your own being, you can't harm anything. You can't harm anything with thought, with word or deed, because you are that energy. You know, you live and breathe it every day. And in that way, you see everyone as your brothers and sisters, and you see every living thing as part of you, you know. And it brings in the for me personally, the communication with the trees, with the river, with the sky, with the earth, with the animals, to be able to commune through that love consciousness, you know, and everything responds, you know.
And looking into the Christ consciousness, it does feel that is more. There's more of an awareness on the planet at the moment. Going back to the Native American traditions, when I've looked into it, there's a lot of people who call it the Trail of Tears, for when that generation of era happened, where so many of their ancestors and the land got slaughtered. So that kind of healing modality had to be pretty much most of it wiped out because of how powerful those teachings were. So for me, and it really inspires me what you're doing, because I love the Native American traditions and all the cultures, because looking back on what Christ consciousness is, their way of living is more like living within the natural way, the way we're meant to live. So what would you feel the world at the moment, from your perspective, kind of growing up? How do you feel that we've disconnected from Christ consciousness, and how can we get back to the level of connecting to Christ consciousness again?
I see in a world that, we say we're in a civilized world. I believe actually we're in a very uncivilized world. And the white eyes would say the native Indian was uncivilized and they are civilized. And I say it's the other way around, because I see and feel that in our society, with also technology is a good thing, but it mustn't become our master. We must stay, I feel, more in nature, and through loving the mother, open the heart. And I think everyone is sort of so shut away from nature in concrete buildings. Life is very stressful. There's a lot of pressure, especially now with lockdown and everything going on in the world. And I think to return to the heart energy is to spend time in nature. Is to sit with the trees and the river, because nature is there to love you and to bring you that healing. And obviously because I'm working with the healing power of music, to use music as that stepping stone back to the heart and to the love within you. It's I'm not in that world. I don't live in that world. I live in the third, fourth and fifth dimension every day. I'm lucky. I'm retired. I don't have to go out into that world, But those people going out to work, traveling, you know, getting stuck in traffic jams and the whole stress,
Hustle and bustle.
the whole hustle and bustle. I mean,
Yeah.
they need time to connect with nature. But obviously it's a free will journey, isn't it? Every soul is evolving and learning through their karma and everything going on. But I believe that nature is the way to spend time with nature, definitely.
And that's great that you've talked about free will, because that for me is one of the most important things, that you've got to give everyone their own free will to make their own way back to the source by themselves in their own time. Because a lot of people, if you try and force awaken people or force put them onto different journey, it's quite a negative thing. And it's so true that we all have that free will to do what we want on the planet and be explorers. And some people are asleep doing the work, being in the slave system. I see it as the slave system, because there was a gentleman who was talking about when he was younger, and he was looking at everyone on the train, and he had a realization when he was younger that this wasn't normal. He could see people going to work in like the suits, you know, getting up at like 9 o'clock, like working off the clock, accepting the clock as their kind of time. And we've kind of navigated our ways kind of slowly onto this path of like, there's so many people who are unaware of it, that they're, in a sense, I don't like to use the word mind control much, but there is a sense of mind control, in that sense that we have disconnected from that natural way.
I agree. When I was young, I was in that rat race energy. You know, I used to travel 150 miles a day to London, to the city, you know, and everyone is in the dark colours and walking, you know, it like sort of regimented. And it, you know, 9 o'clock you start, 5 o'clock you finish, back home, next day, and you're on this sort of treadmill. Until one day or my body just said, that's enough, stop. You know, so for me, it was through a personal trauma. My body was exhausted, and that shook me out of, you know, well, hold on, what am I doing here? You know, do I want to have this existence? Do I want to be part of this rat race, or is there another way I can live? And so I did opt out of the rat race, and obviously that meant I didn't have much money, but it brought me the freedom to fully explore, why am I here? What is the purpose of my life? Where do we go when we leave the planet, when we pass the spirit? And these questions I had when I was 7, actually, you know, and it was a progressive, you know, I needed to find the answer. So I then studied very diligently and joined a development circle to grow and understand these things. And I think everyone, whether they come to it through drama or trauma or just a natural curiosity, the truth is there. You know, it's there, and you need to find a good teacher or a group, and you know, plant yourself in that garden to be watered and have some sunshine from those that can mentor you. You know, and I feel tremendous compassion for the souls that may feel lost, you know, stuck in this situation, especially now with the global health situation going on and everything going on. And you know, I don't want to get into the sort of the darker energies of it, but I would say this: you know, eat good food, be mindful of what you watch on your telly, be careful what you absorb into your energy field, and regularly clean your space and be with nature and be with those that lift you up, and put positive music on, you know. And for me, not watching the telly is the best thing I can say, because I'm not absorbing all of that negativity, and I can hold my vibration in my home, and that's very important. So my home is my temple. It's the, you know, it's the structure around me to enable me to function in the third, fourth, and fifth dimension and hold the light. And if I'm holding the light every day, and I'm actively, you know, spreading my energy through my community, through the work I'm doing on Facebook, the gatherings that I will hopefully return to, you know, then I feel that that's a way of holding the light. And in that way, hopefully we can switch on others. You know, it's by seeing ourselves as family. There's no division. You know, you're my brother. What can I do for you? You know, so this is how I live my life. I've been in service this way for 40 years, starting off as a medium and working with the bereaved, and then progressing from that into teaching, and then from that into sound. And it's been an incredible journey, and hopefully we'll continue many more years to do this work.
And that's it. We're talking a bit from when you started to talk about that, was when you talked about that people sometimes, obviously, they have their own path. And for me, like looking at it, some people say I never have any spiritual awakening. I never get visited by my ancestors. This never happens to me. But there's more, like 9 times out of 10, that people do have mystical experiences each day, and they do have spirit knocking on the door, but they just don't actually accept it into the reality because it's not new to them. And I had this chat with my mum actually, when she was saying my nan passed away a few years back, and she was such a close member to all of our family. And when she passed away, it brought a lot of us closer together. And she said, "Oh, I never have any experiences, or I never have experiences of my mum seeing me." And I asked her, I was like, "Have you had any dreams about her?" And she was, "Yeah, quite a few." I was like, "There you go." What do you want in front of you to make you realize what is spirit? And that I feel that, if you don't know about you, Theresa, but trust is such an important thing on our journey, to be able to have that source connection of trust.
Exactly. I mean, in my 40 years of working with spirit, I've witnessed so many signs myself, and obviously others may have those signs, but as you say, be blinkered, not see them, like it could come in dreams. I mean, it's very important to be aware of your dreams. It could come that you put the radio on and there's a song that links you to your loved one that's passed in spirit, you know, or it could be an unusual thing with an animal, you know. This is going to sound a bit. Well, I don't know how this will be received by those watching, but I want to share a few of my experiences, if I can, or signs.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, one of the most beautiful signs that have come is obviously with the native Indian connection. I get birds of prey. Now, we don't have also buzzards normally. And one particular afternoon, I was just looking out of my living room window. It was cloudy, but I started to see these birds of prey just right, you know, in direct view. And then there were 12 birds of prey that started to circle right in my view. And I recognized that spirit. You know, I just absolutely know this is spirit giving me this sign. So the tears start coming because you feel the love. And I thought, well, I'll get the camera and photograph these birds of prey. But when I process the, you know, I didn't have to process it, it's on the phone, you know. Processed. um, when I looked, there were orbs. So where the birds of prey were, there were all orbs. So it was spirit bringing me this sign. And they do still bring me birds of prey. And it's wonderful, you know. And if I'm feeling low, and I ask, you know, don't be afraid to ask source for strength, you know. And I ask for strength, you know. If I have any health issues, I ask for strength, I ask for wisdom, and then a sign will come. The universe speaks to you through nature. So I'll get a bird of prey calling out and flying low over my head. One particular time a few years ago, I was meditating and I was looking out of my window again. I spend a lot of time looking at the sky. I do other things, but I was looking at the sky again, and this butterfly, this peacock butterfly came. It wasn't the season for butterflies. It got caught in a web outside my window, and I thought, oh, I must go and rescue this butterfly. And I rescued it, and I was very delicately peeling off the sticky web, and it was sitting in the palm of my hand in my porch. So we were in an enclosed area, and I was talking to this butterfly and telling it how much I loved it. and it dematerialized.
Wow.
It wasn't a physical butterfly. And when I received information, I was told it was an angel that took the form of the butterfly and
Wow.
did all of that to get close to me. So it wasn't really in any danger at all, but because I went to rescue it, it was able to come so close.
Wow.
Oh, I've had so many amazing experiences, and I just want to offer to those watching that, you know, if you take yourself into that space of peace and connection, you know, you have to do 50% of it. You know, you can't expect, I don't think, spirit to come and talk to you and you to hear them if you're like in the hustle and bustle of the third dimension, you know, thinking about your food or your jobs. You know, you need to come into meditation or sit in peace with some lovely music or drum. You know, I mean, I love to drum myself into that space. And then those that love you, the ancestors, those you wish to connect with, your guides especially, and your guardians, they will come. And then once you have that vibration that you're living that energy, you know, you need to be living that every day, then you build up that higher vibration in your environment through your energy field. Because only through your energy field the spirit can make these things happen. It's all through you, isn't it?
That's very true.
Yeah.
And that natural connection, like you say, when you go into meditation, and that for me was a big turning point for me to be able to kind of perceive and know that I'm what I talked about this with Susie before in the last few shows, was walking in both worlds at the same time and being aware that as well as you're walking in the physical world, you're walking in the spiritual world. And there's that I've read this Native American book by this lady called Jamie Sams, who talks about one of the greatest way to engage, which helped me. This gave me so much inspiration and so much resolvement in my own journey, was to learn stillness and see what perceived stillness and what true stillness is. And when I started to do it, did the breathing, I had all these programs come up for me so much, and it took me a while of keep doing it, and to the point I got where I could just breathe and be in my body and allow myself to be in the other world and not have any expectations or, like you say, the third dimensional reality pinning me back down into my body and making me kind of, oh, I'll go make a sandwich now or something.
Exactly. I mean, it takes, you know, meditation is a discipline, you know. And when I started in my 20s, I mean, I'm going to soon be 68. So this has been a long time working in this, you know, in the service to the light. I wouldn't want to do anything else. So when I was in my 20s, every day, meditation. It was like eating, you know, you go to the cupboard or the fridge to feed the body, but what feeds the spirit? So meditation is that food for spirit. Like when you go into nature, you know, you're feeding your soul, you're feeding your spirit. So meditation is a key practice if you wish to expand your consciousness. There's no other way, because you need to be opening that 1,000-petaled lotus in the crown chakra and open the inner flute of your being, isn't it? So meditation is like having food for the body. It's the food for the soul, food for the spirit. And it is, you know, I remember when I was young, you know, it is frustrating because you would start meditating and you would think, oh, what do I need to get that out the freezer to make tea with? Oh gosh, you know, I've lost the connection. So again, drumming is a very good practice. I didn't have a drum when I was in my 20s, you know, but look, if I had a drum, then I would recommend drumming. You know, if you're feeling drawn to the native Indian side of things. If not, you know, music is very good. I think any lovely type of meditative music, I think that will help still the mind, isn't it?
And so what does the drum, let's talk a little bit about the drum and a bit of the kind of the dynamics and a bit more. So doing the drumming, what does that entail and what does that help you with, in a sense?
Well, you can see my drum behind me. That was made by Nell Cook, and it's a medicine drum. So it's very important to have a good drum. Now, some people, when I say a good drum, what do I mean? I mean a drum actually that has a medicine in it, that is made with love and energy, connecting to the mother. So you can get man-made drums, but I don't believe they have the same medicine. Do you understand what I'm saying? So drumming. If you start with the heartbeat drum, that connects you to the mother. It slows you down because you want to come into stillness, isn't it? You want to come into that deep connection. What else can I say about it? So sorry, Dale, I've forgotten the question.
so the
Talk about the drum.
So the drum kind of gives you a bit more of the insight, and does it the connection to the earth and the planet and everything around you.
It's the vibration of the drum. I mean, I have endeavored to do some online drum gatherings, but it's so frustrating because when you pick up this beautiful medicine drum and you're sounding it to yourself and you are going into the vibration of the drum, that deep tone which is taking you into the earth, which is connecting you to the trees and the rivers and nature, and and then you're traveling through that energy, through yourself and connecting to your guardians and your guides, and then you're going into the ancestors, and then you're going into source. It's an incredible journey up that mountain of consciousness, and I've tried to bring that through on the online gatherings, but you don't get that because there's a distortion I've seen with the drum.
Yeah, I've seen that.
And it's so frustrating, So the wonderful thing is when we can do it again, is to sit on Mother Earth, in a teepee or a yurt or just in a circle of trees and just with nature, and bring everyone into that circle round the living fire. Bring them in, into that circle, and start to drum, and then there is this amazing pulse that travels around everybody. It's amazing, and there's nothing like it, because when you're drumming and that is bringing you into connection, that straight away stops the mind from thinking. You become one with the drum, and that also creates an energy that spirit can use. So sometimes we've had spirit playing flute. There's no one playing a flute, but we can hear flutes playing, because suddenly you've made that bridge, you've opened the doorway to the higher realms, and the ancestors can come in and join you and empower your space. And then everybody goes home feeling, wow, gives them strength to meet all the stuff going on in their lives. So to me, the drum is precious, and I couldn't possibly not have. I think I've got about 10 drums now, and I've got powwow drums, and I had to put the powwow drum in the lodge in the garden because it's so big. The powwow drum.
Is that the one where you sit down and
sit down? I get about 8 people round, so you're holding the directions, And I used to play it indoors, and all the windows would shake. So
That's the thing, isn't it, with the drum? Like you said about the online, I did a ceremony last year at the start of lockdown, and I put a bit of drumming in it, and I said I'd never do this again because I did it. The ceremony sounded really good, and at the end I started doing drumming, and my mate Christian messaged me after, and he goes, "You do know that drumming? It just the speaker was about to explode." Like, it's so hard to pick up the toning online and stuff like that. It's really hard.
It's amazing. I call it the thunder drum because when I play it, just me. But I mean, if I had 8 people, it would be off the scale, And it's never really been played by 8 people, but it's amazing. And this is what I love. I love this, to come into this power, because you're generating energy that you can all share, and you're changing. I believe you're changing the etheric field. So when you're drumming like that with power, and it's not a power that's sort of, I'm going to bash this drum, not that type of power, you're actually going into ceremony with the drum. So when you're playing it, you become one with the drum. Your being becomes one with the drum, and it can change its sound accordingly. And everyone that wants to get into drumming, is actually, your drum is an extension of you. You know, this is an important thing to recognize. Yeah. So you wouldn't lend out your medicine drums. Your medicine drum becomes a healing tool as an extension of you, to connect you to spirit, to connect you to the higher consciousness, you know.
And it's great to, for me, and my first ever drum was a horse drum. And when you speak to some people and they get a bit funny about it being horse, but what I see is that when you've got the, say, the skin of the buffalo or the skin of the deer or the skin of the horse, for me you're really honoring that animal who has been in service to us. And when you're playing it, you're honoring the animal, and the animal actually comes in your medicine journeys with you and helps you out because you're honoring their life as well.
Yes, indeed. I mean, I know people get the vegan drums, you know, and that's fine, you know. But I have to work with the animal skin, and you know, the animal has been, you know, it has been, its life has been taken. We don't know why, but if you make sure that your source of your drum maker knows where that skin has come from, you know. But as you say, you bless it, you bless the drum, you bless the animal within the drum, the drum skin, and you make connection in your heart, you know, and then you get imbued with the power of that. You know, I've got horse skin drums, buffalo, cow, and deer, and they're all blessed. You know, I give thanks to the animal. So it's very important, if you're going to have a drum, to have it made by, you know, someone that you can trust, that, you know, they know where they get the skin from and things like this, you know. And it's made with ceremony. If you're going to have a drum, have it made with ceremony. It's important. Yeah. You
And
don't. Sorry.
yes, it's all right. I remember there was a Native American story I read. I can't remember exactly where it's from, but it was a topic talking about meat, and there was loads of concerns about the planet, that they shouldn't be eating flesh, they shouldn't be using flesh for drums, so on and so forth. And there was a Native American story which has been passed down about the antelope, and when the first ice mountains came to all the, like, Turtle Island, all around those areas, they were going to have nothing to eat because they were eating plants before. So the antelope came down and offered them their service and said, "The Earth Mother has asked us to honor you, the two-leggeds, by giving our flesh to you in service to you, the two-legged, so you can fulfill and go on with your life." And it was basically a beautiful story about that the animals are in service to us, and when they come here, before they come into their skin and body, they know that they are going to go through the experience, if it's slaughter or if it's an experience of just being wild and not being eaten, blah blah blah. But they know they're in service to the two-legged and the future of our collective. And for me, that was a huge turning point to me, because I was a bit obsessive in my ways probably about 10 years ago with food, being vegan, because I was like, oh, I'm eating this flesh, I'm eating this blah blah blah. But now I completely see it a different way, that even when I do eat meat, I eat meat myself. I honor the animal I'm eating my flesh and showing my heart and my love with. And I say my prayers to that animal exactly the same as you would do to a plant. And it's given me such a different perspective, because back
Yeah.
then I was so like, oh, I don't want to use a drum, I don't want to use this rattle. But when I learned about the traditions, what you teach, for me, it was a big heart opener to that sense.
Yes, I think I went through that as well. You know, when I became vegetarian, quite young, I thought, well, you know, I said the story. I felt, well, I'm a hypocrite. I'm looking at this lamb in the field, you know, and I go, oh, sweet little lamb, and I'm going. This is when I was very young, when I was a child, having lamb and roast potatoes for Sunday
Yeah.
it's like, gotta stop, you know. And I thought, no, I can't do that, you know. So I became very strict vegetarian, and but over the years that has changed, like how you came into that realization. um the only thing I would add to that is I feel there's a lot of greed in our world, and I don't like the factory farming,
Yeah.
you know, and I don't agree with the way animals are treated, and I get terribly upset when I witness anything, you know, the factory farming and the transportation of animals, and it's all greed and it's all money. It's all about profit, and there's no care for the livelihood of those animals that, you know, that we are, not myself, but others are consuming for food. And one of my great, you know, prayers, if you want, is that humanity may shift en masse in their consciousness, and I say the more we can anchor the Christ consciousness in, you know, and become that and share that energy and imbue that to others and teach and heal and offer ourselves as light beings to our global family of nations, is that this ceases, you know, that this changes, because when you come to that level of consciousness where you can feel everything, as an empath, I can feel it all, you know, and so I'm feeling Gaia. I'm communing with Gaia, Mother Earth, and in that way, I feel the pain, and it, you know, it's taken me a while to be able to not feel it and be able to cope with it, you know, to live as an empath, but, you know, train myself not to feel it. Feel, you know, send the energy of love into the earth rather than receiving the pain of the earth. So in that awareness, you know, let's hopefully pray that, you know, with the energies coming in now, and of course we're in the Aquarian energy, which is the one of community and enlightenment, that there will be like the sun rising over the hill, that there will come this shift, you know, that the greed for profit will not become the main reason that everything is done. You know, there's poor animals that suffer. But myself now, I do eat fish. I have to say, I do eat fish. I needed to eat the fish, but I bless it and I thank it. Call it, you know, it's my brother, the little fish. I give thanks and I pray over it. So I think it's a very personal journey. And you know, I have friends that eat meat, you know, and I don't, you know, I don't criticize them, because they're doing what they want to do. It's a free will thing. But I do wish the suffering of animals, you know, as I remember, you know, when I was a Native Indian, when I lived as a Native Indian, how I lived in the Chiricahua Apache tribe, you know, my family there, how we lived as a tribe. There were great prayers that were made. There was dance that was made. There was ceremony that was made before you went out to find the buffalo, to take the buffalo. You know, you didn't just go out and kill a buffalo. It was a very, you linked with Great Spirit, you linked with Wakantonka, you linked with Great Mystery. You were taking a life, but you had full respect and honor of that life, you know, and you never ever took more than what you needed for that time. You know, it was always done with reverence, and then you ate that food, you know, and your spirit and the consciousness of the animal become one, you know, and there's so much beauty in the traditions of the Native Indian, and you know, how you could sit by the river and hear the song of the river. You know, there was so much, I remember so much peace. Until the white eyes came, and then that changed everything. You know, when they invaded the lands and slaughtered the buffalo, and that the tragedies and the suffering, you know, and obviously remembering all of that is painful. So yeah.
And that's it, the era of why, like you say, we didn't want to touch into so much darkness on this show, but the for when the Native Americans did get, a lot of them, 80% of them did get wiped out, that was a reason why, because the traditions are so powerful, and the traditions, if they were still around like they were back then, the world would be a totally different place, because everyone would be freed from all this pain, all this karma, and all this drama, and all this shit show which is going on. When you turn on the telly, when you look at the news, and you see this contrast between the separation of the light, the dark, the in between, and you, like you say, it's so important to have responsibility for yourself and do what you can do with your own free will, but not stepping on the journeys of others, and making sure the way you live is sacred and you honor the planet, you honor the earth. So, and I do feel that's the greatest gift we can give to the earth at the moment, is healing the self.
Exactly that, Dale. I mean, we're all living in our own reality. When we put the telly on, and I put the telly on. I mean, I very rarely watch it, but I don't watch the news now. But say I put it on and there's the headlines coming on, or I used to watch a bit of news when we first went into lockdown. I thought it was important to see what was going on.
Yeah.
But then I soon realised that as I was watching, you know, Boris and the whole lockdown thing, and all the sort of medical people and the whole energy, I started to go into fear. I could feel it churning in my solar plexus, and it decentered me. And I, for a while, I was so much caught in the fear, in the global fear, in the fear of people around me. I couldn't find my center, you know. And I thought, well, what's going on with me? It's simple. Don't watch the news. Don't watch it. Don't. Why would you like to eat that energy? So it's a fear-based thing. It's all fear, and the best thing I can say to people is don't watch it. Don't watch the media. Don't absorb that energy, because it is it's a lowering of your frequency to the light. And you know, go into your gardens, go for a walk, you know, drum, sing, dance, write some poetry, you know, take your mind off of it. Go and give love to something or someone. You know, a spirit once said to me many, many years ago, he said, if you are depressed, seek out someone who is depressed. If you are sad, seek out someone who is sad. In other words, when we give love to another human soul, we automatically receive the light through ourselves, because we are becoming that channel for the healing of another. You know, so if you are feeling low and you're feeling decentered, you know, look around you, look around your family, your friends. Is there someone that you know that needs uplifting? You know, give them a ring, give them love, and then you should automatically start to feel yourself come back to the light, because you're becoming a channel for that healing. And yeah, I mean, what with the time we're in now, you know, it's a very strange thing, because I don't live in that reality at all. I live in the reality of light. I live in the reality of the Christ consciousness, and my home and my garden is a reflection of me. And then you put the telly on, and then suddenly, as soon as I put the telly on, it's like, oh no, this is another world. Even the adverts, I can't watch the adverts, mute the adverts, you know, everything going on with the telly. And it's so strong now, I would say I'm hardly watching the telly. You know, I might pinpoint, I like garden programs, so I might go and watch something like that, you know, but it's just going into it, you know. And it does remind me very much of that film, The Matrix, with Keanu Reeves, you know, which I love that film,
Yeah.
but it very much reminds me of that. And as you say, you know, you have human beings that are asleep, and that's fine, because they're in that point of their evolution through the processes of incarnation, So I don't judge anyone, I just want to love everybody into a place of healing. And through the music that I'm doing, all this incredible music coming from the Council of Chiefs, I mean, it's incredible. And the power of their ancient songs, which I have to say, they're here. Here they are. I always forget to plug my music, so I'm going to plug it today.
Yeah, you're gonna take give us a bit of a treat.
This is the best of. I mean, I've got these are the albums, so many albums, but you can buy these through me direct. But you can also, there are, I think, 24 songs now that are digitally uploaded onto Spotify, iTunes, and Google Play. And you can get them there, or you can get an album, And the wonderful thing is that I go into trance, when I'm doing the music is done through trance and connection. So I will be drumming myself into a space where I'm connecting into the frequency and the energy of the ancestors. And then my voice can change and take on that quality, and sometimes it might sound more male because I might be actually be overlighted by the energies of the chiefs. And then I have my 8-track in my temple studio, which means I can go into trance and overlay all the harmonies. And then I have a very dear friend, and she says, "My gosh, it sounds like you've got a tribe coming out of your machine." Because I'm in that space or that dimension of consciousness where I can hear all the other voices singing. That tribal harmonic sound, where it's very vibrant and you've got all the voices, and I hear it. And then when it's completed, and I don't practice it, I can't practice that. It has to come in the moment through the energy conduit, and it's still flowing. The music still comes, and I may put it out onto Facebook, but I can't put out all the harmonies. It's just this, with the drum and the voice as a live video, and it's incredible. And I'm very honoured that Chief Sitting Bull and the Council of Chiefs give me this music, and it's a wonderful blessing to have it and share it.
And it would be great if you could share some of that. You wanted to share some. We talked about if you wanted to do that on the show. If you want to go, if you're up for doing, yeah.
I'd love to do some vibrant drumming, but I know that the drum will sound distorted. So I'm going to play the flute. Now I have damaged my right hand, so it's numb. I can't feel it, and it's very hard to press onto the flute keyholes, But here we go. So this is a song that came in for the full moon energy. So. I am flying on wings of light across the river in the moonlight. I am flying on wings of light across the river in the moonlight. Hey away, way, way on the way, oh. 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 See the had to really bring myself into a space not to go into trance.
That was outstanding. It's beautiful because it takes you on such a journey, and that the melodies and the tune you're going into. It's like you're stepping into that field where time doesn't exist anymore, where you are bringing in that world of infinite energy, the infinite possibilities, the ancestors, the spirits, and it's very, very beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Thank you, Dale. For me, when I sing, it's a prayer. So the next step would be to go into trance. So as I'm singing, the doors opening, because I have to be singing from that place, and then I'd be working with my guardian wolf, and he would come in and start speaking to people, and we together help help anyone that needs the help, and through my community of sisterhood, I'm working with the healing power of the divine feminine as well. So I am doing online work, but it's just frustrating when we come to drum together. You get all the distortion. The flute seems to work well. So hopefully when I watch the replay, I can witness how that flute sounds, and hopefully you're getting the full vibration coming through the screen,
That's it. It's such such a choppy situation with music and Zoom and Facebook and everything, because I've experienced it firsthand. And for me, like that community feel, I'm really looking forward to that, of like you doing your groups again and having the space where you're with someone, you're witnessing them in the flesh, and you're able to honor each other by seeing each other and touching and hugging, and that's so important for us at the moment.
Oh my goodness, I so miss the hugs, just the physical contact, because it's not natural. We're living very unnaturally. The very first thing we experience as a baby when we leave the womb is the mother's hug. We're held, and I think so many people are suffering. Obviously, with a bit of mental health as well, because they're not being hugged. And I sort of say to people through the screen, I'm giving you a hug, let's have a hug. But to actually be held is so important. And that's really, it's really awful not to be hugged. But the amazing thing is, what I have found working with spirit is that when we do online gatherings and share the energy of the music, and energy, when I'm working with Wolf and I'm working with that conduit where I'm in trance and the energy is flowing, people do get the healing. It comes through the screen, and you do.
Yeah.
And I can see and witness, others guides, and give them messages from the native Indian guides. So it does work, but it's taken a few months to get used to it, because when I first tried to do trance channeling online, I'd get a headache. I couldn't do it, but I can do it now. I'm pleased to say I've had to do it, because you can't be isolated from, we can't be totally isolated from one another. It's bad enough that we can't have hugs, but thank God for this technology where we can see one another and see our families, and and at least get that sense of connection, isn't it? But
Definitely.
we can only just pray and hold the light, hold the higher vibration, hold ourselves in love and trust, and draw ourselves into that space every day, and be in our gardens, be with nature, be with people that love us and that we can love online, like this, and pray that this will change. Our country situation will change, and we will be able to hug again. That would be a tremendous celebration.
And it does, like for me, this lockdown has brought so many opportunities to learn more about myself, and even for the negative things which have happened, I've had a lot of positive self changes within myself and realizations, because I've had some time out of everything, and the world's kind of had a bit of a timeout zone, and I do feel that we're in for some interesting things coming up, and I do feel the evolution of the planet at some point in time, whether it's our lifetime or the next lifetime we're in, will come to the point where the Native Americans call it the fifth world of peace, where all the clans come together and break bread, drop their ego, and actually share space, hug each other, and share the world and enjoy and honor the world. They don't have to work for money. And for me, it's inspiring seeing people like yourself and other people on their journey sharing their truth, because that's what the world needs at the moment.
Exactly. And I want to just, if I have enough time, just to quickly talk about the prophecy.
Yeah, go ahead, Jay.
Because we're actually, the prophecies are being fulfilled now. So we have, if you want to relate that to the Christ energy, the prophecies are being fulfilled now. But I want to talk about the white buffalo prophecy, because I'm holding the energy of white buffalo woman. And you did ask me, how did that name come when we had a quick chat on Messenger, isn't it? I think you asked me that question.
Yeah.
That name came from Chief Sitting Bull. Well, he basically gave me back the name that I had when I was in the 200 years ago, when I was on the earth, when I did the vision quest and the white buffalo came walking by my side. It's the high priestess energy. It's that pure connection. So you become the mediator between, the creator, and you become the high priestess of your tribe. And I want to talk about the prophecies are being fulfilled. The white buffalo woman energy, white buffalo energy, is again the sign of the Christ consciousness. It's a purity of consciousness, and it's a global shift. When you spoke about signs earlier, when the white buffalo is born, and it has been born, I think there's been several that have been born, but it's actually holding that consciousness. So right now, I believe and I feel that, we have a collective consciousness, the flower of life, the 144,000 golden seeded DNA consciousness on Earth. And this is part of my work with the Christ consciousness, to actually find and identify this global family. And I have been working with this energy, for over 20 years. It's brothers and sisters that have come into incarnation with the seed energy of that Christ consciousness, the golden light within them, to activate right now the prophecy energy. Now, some may be aware of it, some not aware of it. It doesn't matter so much if they're not aware of who they are, as long as they're living and being who they are. So we're in the time of prophecies being fulfilled as we move through this energy now, the time of the Aquarian energy coming in. But of course, it's the time of the great battle. This is my feelings, and people listening to me, they might say, we totally disagree with what you're saying, and that's fine. This is my reality, that we're in this Armageddon, and the Armageddon is not the end of. It's just the battle of change, the shift, the shift. If you have like sand and it's gone a bit stuck in the container or whatever, you shake it up, and it loosens the granules. So I feel humanity has been shaken up. Over the last 2 years, we've all been shaken up here in Great Britain. And with that process comes a shift. Suddenly, as you say, people had to stay home. Well, maybe they've gone and taken up a hobby and they don't want to return. They don't want to go back to what they want to be a gardener or whatever they want to do, or work for agriculture. I don't know, but it's a shaking of consciousness. Now, some may not awaken, but I believe that this is the great shift, the great awakening. We are being shaken awake, because if we don't awake, I don't know whether you know about Sir George Trevelyan, but he said the words, because he used to say how we're all droplets in the ocean of consciousness. And he said, awake, awake, for pity's sake. He was talking about humanity. So maybe this is the great, we had to, who knows, this
Yeah.
time of crises, pressure, compression, when, bones grow when they press against one another. That's how we grow. They press, they push. So we are being pushed in ourselves emotionally, mentally, spiritually. Everyone is being pushed, compressed by what's happening. And through that, I think there is awakening. Through that, there is a process that makes you ask, well, hold on a minute, what's going on? Uh, uh, anyway, yes, I mean, but are we still online? Have you lost connection?
No, sorry, I was just popping in my charger, Mum.
Oh, okay. I suddenly go mid sentence. Whoops. So yeah, I don't go into the conspiracy stuff. I stay out of all of that. You have to stay in the light, and just love it all. Love the whole process and be there for people, isn't it? Be there.
Definitely, and that's the thing for me. I was into a bit of conspiracy now and then. I'll look at a few things, but the information can change you, and that's one of the. I do believe there's a lot of darkness behind conspiracies, even because AIs, technologies, putting out information what suppresses people. Even there's so many people who are on the conspiracy path, and it takes away so much of their light that all they become is bitter, dark, and it lowers the frequency. And for me, I've had to see that as a teacher and separate myself, make sure I don't dive into that, because it changes me like the news does. If you're going to look down the rabbit hole of everything's a conspiracy, which a lot of it's true, I'm not saying it's not, but you've got to realize sovereignty starts when you say no to external energies and you say no to things which lower your frequency, and you actually become a self-master of knowing that if I go down that path, it's going to lead me into sadness if I go down this path. So yeah,
Exactly.
that is it's knowing thyself, isn't it, and knowing what happens and your responsibility you have on the world.
Exactly that, Dale. And if you come from the perspective, as I feel that we're all connected, we're like the fingers on the hand, all connected. Then how you are thinking and vibrating each day is affecting everybody else. And Spirit once told me, this is amazing. So I want to share this because it's amazing. They said a butterfly, a butterfly's wings in Australia can be felt here in Great Britain. The butterfly's wings can be felt here through the etheric field. So we're in a soup. We're in this soup, this etheric field, which is could be like a choppy ocean, isn't it? Well, so we have to be mindful. What do we want to eat? What do we want to perceive? What do we want to, do we want to get sticky stuff all over us and be covered in this horrible fear-based, what's going on in the world type thing? Or do we want to keep our space clean and bright, like the angels, keep the light around you so that you can bless the world by being in it? You're blessing the world by being in it. And not even put your mind to it, whether it is going on or not going on. If it's AI and all this, whatever it is, you don't want to get involved in it. It's sticky stuff, because you're then not holding the highest vibration. And to bring in the changes, to make sure we protect Gaia, our mother, because we belong to nature. Nature doesn't belong to us. We belong to nature. So if we become a guardian of nature, we can only be that guardian if we are clear channels of the light. So it's so important to stay out of all that stuff and to be mindful what you're going to eat. You're mindful what you eat. You're going to eat organic food. That's important too. and good fresh water, that's important. You don't want the chemicals coming into your body. But at the same time, you don't want to eat psychic stuff. You don't eat the dark psychic stuff, you know.
Yeah.
So I hope my my reflection of my reality and my awareness is clear and concise, you know, and I hope it meets everybody with grace and peace, you know, because you, you, you
What
have.
you look.
Sorry, Dal.
Sorry,
Sorry.
Dave, you go. You go ahead. You go ahead.
I'm just going to finish by saying you have to even love your enemies. You know, you have to love everybody, everything, isn't it? No, you don't have to, but hopefully you evolve to. But even if someone comes to me and they're conflicting, you know, you can't meet that energy with the same way. You meet it with love. You know, it's yeah.
And
Anyway,
what you look at stares back at you. And if you're going to go down the conspiracy of everything's this and they're doing this to me all the time, and you're gonna have that staring back at you, going back to universal law. What you put out there comes straight back at you. And if you're gonna stare out to the darkness all the time
yes.
about what they're doing, they're gonna stare straight back at you, and it's gonna change you.
I mean, which view do you want? You know, which way are you looking? Let's look into the beautiful horizon. You know, let's see that sun shining, the blue sky, animals. You know, and visualize a world of peace, a world of harmony. You know, make it your reality that this is the world you're living in. You're living in a world of happiness and joy and love. You know, and you're not because that's the way your view is this. You know, that's your reality, and it changes your whole construct, your whole energy field. So you only have to actually walk down the road and pass people, and they will go, oh, I feel a lot better, because they've gone through your energy field. You know, you don't even have to you can walk into the doctor's surgery and just sit there and radiate. You know, because it's your being, isn't it? And you're changing people's mood, because you're gifting them some light, isn't it? I'm not saying that you go out and you go into trance everywhere. I don't mean that. I mean that you just are the vibrations of love, light, and peace. You're bringing that you know energy wherever you go, and I endeavour to you know to smile and say hello to people. You know, I mean, I live in a village, only one shop, so it's not very busy. But if I see anyone, it's oh good morning, you know, and you can feel how they feel when they say it back to you. You know, as an empath, you can feel oh they were depressed. You know, so it's just about just everyone just doing what they can to help everybody else, and we all get through this together. Because we're all family. There's no separation, is there? You know, we're all one.
So before we go and say goodbye, so how can people get a hold of you, Theresa?
Various ways. I mean, I'm always on Facebook. They can message me on Messenger. That's the simplest way. You know, so on Facebook it's Theresa Matthew, White Buffalo Woman. It's not Theresa White Buffalo Woman. It's Theresa Matthew White Buffalo Woman. So Messenger on Facebook, and then we can have a conversation. If you know, I can speak to them on the phone. They can email me as well. So that's theresamatthew@gmail.com. What other way? I think that's it really. I don't feel to give out my telephone number. You know, I'd rather actually speak to people. You know, I do like to have we can do online like this through a live video call on Messenger. That seems to be the easiest way to communicate with people. And if they want to learn any more about my work, they can go on the website, which I think you've posted, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I just wish everyone so much love and blessings, you know, and yeah, just so much love from my heart to all of you. And because what else can I say? State of being.
And thank you so much for coming on the show, and I'd love to have you on again at some point in the future, because it's been really fun. Thank you.
Thank you, Dal, and do put a link for the music. The music is so important.
Yeah,
And I did send a message via Wolf today, who is here. Wolf connects with Chief Sitting Bull and the Council of Chiefs. He's my guardian. And I said, would you tell Sitting Bull that I'm going online? So he does know. He does know this is happening. And there's a beautiful, beautiful song called Soaring with the Eagle. Now, it's on my YouTube channel, and it's a video. And you've got Chief Sitting Bull. And that's a favourite of the Chiefs. And I would love for people to just take the energy of that song, Soaring with the Eagle. And
I'll put it below. I'll put it below as well on YouTube. I'll put in the details, the link and the link for the song as well.
Lovely. Thank you, Dal. That's lovely. And so much love to you and your family.
Thank you so much.
And so
Lovely to meet you.
Yeah, lovely to meet you too.
It's been really fun.
Thank you, Dal.
Thank you so much, and thank you everyone for watching the Talking Stick Show. We're just over a year old now, so yeah, happy birthday, Talking Stick Show, and I look. Thank you so much, Theresa. You have a lovely day. It's an absolute honour to speak to you this morning. You've really inspired me. Thank you.
Thank you, Dal. Much love.
Thank you. Take care, everyone. Bye bye.